This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Lenovo is built for creators who don't wait for inspiration. They chase it. With inventive tech, built-in AI tools, and seamless performance, Lenovo devices powered by Intel Core Ultra processors are designed to bring your wildest ideas to life faster. That's the power of Lenovo with Intel inside. Enjoy flexible financing, rewards on every purchase, and free shipping. And students get special offers when you create an account at Lenovo.com.
Lenovo. And
thanks to our friends at Unreal, you can restock your wardrobe with Unreal golf apparel this year, just like Common. Register to win up to $1,000 in Unreal golf apparel on our contest page. One lucky winner will restock their closet with amazing golf apparel thanks to Unreal. KFAN.com, keyword contest center.
Couple 13-14 past Common Man Program. I'm the Common Man, Dan Cole. He is 10 to be. No Mark Rosen. Mark Rosen's a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday guy. He will be with us the next time we're here. Is it Wednesday? Because we were scheduled
next Wednesday,
for Monday,
yeah.
But we won't. We're excited. We're going to be out at Hazeltine again for it's either the second or third year in a row where Chen and I will broadcast live from Hazeltine National Golf Course for the Federated Insurance Big Brother, Big Sister Golf Tournament. They've raised so much money for Big Brothers and Big Sisters over the years. It's a wonderful. Federated is a wonderful company. You know, Audible Watan have been around since I think like 1914 or something, and of course, Big Brothers Big Sisters is a great organization giving kids a lot of opportunities.
Nice to meet you.
And here we are. We're excited and delighted to be joined by Vikings quarterback coach Josh McCown. And back at studio, Brett Blakemore, if you could play this soundbite for us real quick.
Get back, guys. Here it is. The season's on the line. Two receivers left and right. McCown takes the snap. He steps up. He's all by himself. Fires into the end zone. Caught! Touchdown! No! The Cardinals have knocked the Vikings out of the playoffs.
You've got a smile on your face. That must have been.
Never gets old, does it?
That must have been one of many
No.
career highlights.
No, well, many is the operative word there. There wasn't very many. Okay, so like have to hang on to that one. But I'm so much a Viking now that actually kind of hurt for once.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Did PA just not talk to you when you first came on board?
No, he's done it I think twice now. He's walked up behind me and like started the call, and it's unbelievable because it sounds exactly like how he sounds, you know.
Yeah.
And we're right back in. You know, the play before I think was like a sack fumble or something like that I recovered, and Emmitt Smith of all people was like, "Josh, get up," like he was telling me. So Emmitt like deserves a lot of credit for that play, that ball getting snapped, because I was, you know, situationally aware, was pretty low as a young player.
Yeah.
And so he did a great job of helping me get up and get going. But yeah, like I said, there's not very many highlights, so I'll hang on to that one. It was a fun day.
Well, I always correct PA too, because it didn't knock the Vikings out of the playoffs. It kept them from getting into the playoffs. They weren't necessarily in the playoffs at that point, but we're nitpicking there. You know, I noticed that we have a couple of things in common, you and I do. First of all, we both played football at a high level. You played college and NFL. I was a fierce pass rushing, Rock of Gibraltar run stopping defensive lineman and a precise route running sure and a pass catching tight end. Now, that was back when I was in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, which was about 50 years ago, but still, I did play football at a high level, both sides of the ball, and you did as well. The other thing is, we both spent time in Huntsville, Texas.
Oh, there you go.
You played for Sam Houston State, the Bearcats. I was there doing 5 to 10. But no, I really was. But it was 5 in the morning till 10 in the morning on KHUN radio, which was the sister station at KSAM. Right. So I wasn't doing 5 to 10 in the prison, though I would say that on the air all the time. I'd go, Dan Cole here on KHUN doing 5 to 10, and I'm thinking some guy in the prison going, you have no idea what 5 to 10 is.
You have no idea. That's right.
Yeah. How did you get to Huntsville? Because that was your last year as a college quarterback, right?
That's right. So yeah, I played my first 3 years at Southern Methodist University there in Dallas, also known as SMU, and played there, and before transferring is what it is today.
Right.
Had played 3 years, and back then it was 1AA football or what is it now, FBS or FCS or whatever. I get them confused. But
you didn't have to sit out, right?
Yeah, I didn't have to sit out if you went down. And my high school, one of my close friends from high school was playing for Sam Houston at the time.
Okay.
Said, hey, we got a really good team. We just don't, quarterback position's kind of unsettled, and went down there and had a fun year and played and materialized into me getting drafted by the Cardinals.
Yeah, you had great numbers down there. And I don't know if you know this name, but the longtime play-by-play guy for Sam Houston was Cooter Robertson. Do you know Cooter?
I don't know Cooter, but I know.
Yeah, you know who he is, because I thought maybe you ran into him as he's doing interviews and such like that. But I worked with him. I was on the FM station. He was on KSAM, the home of Bearcat football. And that was also, I don't know if you know this, that station was the first place former CBS newsman Dan Rather worked. That's where he got his start.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's a Sam Houston kind of claim to fame is Dan Rather for sure. You talked about not having a lot of highlights in your career, but I think you're underselling yourself a little bit. But I will say this. It's probably easier to name the teams you didn't play for than the teams you did play for. I had no idea you played for a lot of NFL teams in your career. That's right. Yeah, I did. And on one hand, on a scope of the NFL and what it is, you don't necessarily set out there to play for that many teams, but to get in that number of years and to be able to last that long, I am proud of that. And the best part about it is you get to know a lot of wonderful people around this league and within every one of these organizations. And so I'm really thankful for my time in and time with those 10, 11, whatever count it is. I don't know, but a lot of teams.
I think I also saw a note, and tell me if it's accurate and if it still stands as a record. You're the oldest quarterback to make a debut in a postseason game. You were 40 years old the first time you started in a postseason game. Is that correct?
That's correct. I didn't start. It was a few years.
Oh, somebody got hurt.
It was Carson Wentz.
Yes.
2019 maybe. Got knocked out of that game there at the Link in Philly, and I had to come in the game, and so that was kind of partly not because I hope to play, but just over the scope of my career, kind of being in situations where the teams were either rebooting, it was a stopgap situation or whatever, and so not having had some playoff experience and success and all those things. And so when Doug and Howie called me about that opportunity in training camp, I had already retired. That was what was most intriguing, is they felt like they had been to the Super Bowl 2 years prior. They felt like they had a good team, so it was really cool to actually get to play in a playoff game.
Sure.
After having played all those years, and I share that with our guys. We don't take lightly the opportunity that we got last year, and you don't just roll the ball out there and just go to the playoffs all the time. And I was fortunate to play 18 years of NFL football, and I think I was in the playoffs 3 times.
Yeah.
And so you don't take those things for granted, and every moment you have to embrace and enjoy being out there with the guys and the ability to strive and strain to get to that place. So thankful we got to do it last year, and hopefully build on that this year.
Well, over the course of that long career, I'm assuming there was a point where you never thought you'd go that long, because right in the middle of your career, you're playing the UFL in Hartford, right? What was your mindset at that point? I'm assuming you thought, man, my NFL career's over. What were you thinking?
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of a tale of two careers, because it's actually 19 total years of playing, and there's kind of 9 years there and then out and playing in the UFL, and it's a different version of the UFL that you're seeing now, but kind of the same types of guys in there, guys that are trying to extend their career. And I really thought, this was it, this was done. So I played that season. The following season, started coaching high school football there in Charlotte, where we were living, and staying in shape, and then got a chance to go to camp with the 49ers after the lockout, because they had drafted Colin Kaepernick. Players were locked out. They didn't know if he'd be ready to be a rookie kind of backup. So ended up going there, getting cut by them in camp, and then coached the whole high school season, got back into the league with the Chicago Bears, and then did that the following season. So I coached 2 high school seasons there in between, and I think that just gave me wonderful perspective kind of on the second half of my career. Of just how thankful I was every day to walk into a facility once you've been out, and that feeling, and then B, just the perspective of coaching, even in high school, the teaching aspect of it, approaching the game that way as a player in my second half of my career really helped me and benefited me, and I played some better football because of it. And so I think that was probably the impetus of me standing here now. Is probably where I first wanted to realize that I wanted to be a coach.
I got one more question before I'm assuming JJ McCarthy will take over the conversation. But you and I also have something in common. From judging from your Wikipedia page, as long as it's accurate, you can tell me if it is accurate or not. You and I are both late bloomers. We didn't grow to our junior year in high school. It said you were 5'4" as a sophomore, and so I'm wondering, for me, I wasn't 5'4", but I was 5'7". You know, as a sophomore, I had to quit football because I wasn't athletic enough to overcome the size to fit. So, how did you keep playing football when you were 5'4" as a sophomore?
Yeah, I think I have to look at that because it might have been closer to 5'6". Not that that's a whole lot of difference, but I think my driver's license said that. But you know what? I had an older brother who was not a late bloomer and who was a very, very successful high school football player, and he was my hero. So I wanted to do everything he was doing, and so really just watching him, I was going to just work hard and try to play, and that's kind of being that size was at that time in high school football kind of confined to playing quarterback only. So I think the best part of it is I kept working, and my hands really didn't grow much, they stayed the same since I was 16, I feel like. So it helped me master being able to throw the football with some smaller hands. But yeah, thankful that I sprouted up there between my junior and senior year, got up there, and then I grew an inch in college, and very, very fortunate to kind of grow late, be a late bloomer.
Do you like coaching?
I do. I'm enjoying it. You learn something new every day from these guys, and I think it's very rewarding to join these guys on their journey in pro football, and to hopefully be able to help them along the way as they try to create their careers. Mm-hmm. And so that's the most part, the most fun. And then just being a part of an organization, a team, and a group, and to strive for something, and then to work with Kevin and the guys. It's just I feel very fortunate.
Remind me how long you've been quarterbacks coach here with the Purple?
So this is going into my second year.
Going into your second year. So last year you had the opportunity, obviously, to take Sam Darnold, who was kind of in a career path you were kind of going. It didn't look like he was third pick overall. He'd bounced around a couple teams, hadn't a lot of success. He comes here and has just a terrific year. How satisfying was that for you as a coach to be a part of that?
Well, it was very, and just from the sense of I was in New York when we drafted Sam. And I remember, kind of watching some quarterbacks for them in the off season and going through the evaluation process. And we had a high feeling of Sam when we drafted him. He started as a rookie. I was his backup. We spent a lot of time together his rookie year. We lived down the hall from each other in the corporate housing there, and so we spent a lot of time together. So we had a different relationship, and I think that made last year even more special because I knew what kind of player he could be, and just obviously paired with what we have here from a coaching, play calling standpoint, and the talent around him. I thought he had the ability to actualize his gifts, and he was able to do that. So really, really happy for him. It was a satisfying year.
Did he have a lot of confidence in himself at that point? Did you have to instill that in him, or did it kind of go hand in hand?
I think it was a little bit of both. I think everybody involved. I think it starts from the top down with Kevin and the way that he talks, not just to the quarterback, but to everybody in the building. You guys have been around him. He exudes confidence and makes you feel the best about yourself, and I think he does that especially for the quarterback, and does a good job of building that guy up and putting that guy in position to utilize his strengths, and so that was kind of Kevin coming from his end, and then myself and obviously Grant last year day to day in the quarterback room, just continuing to build into Sam and to coach those things and to teach him this system and all that. I think it all just worked together to bring the best out in all of us.
And you're kind of doing the same thing now again, and this time with J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah, exactly. So you take, the things that we learned last year from Sam, coaching in that situation, and for me, I think year two in a system, understanding, ironically, this is the first time in my pro pro football journey of, I guess, 22 years now that I've had the same offense 2 years in a row. So this is uncharted waters for me, but I like it. I like it. It's kind of nice, and so I think hopefully for us that'll expedite some of the coaching that needs to go on with JJ from a standpoint of just things I see and how I can better assess, because now I know exactly how Kevin wants this thing done and how Wes wants this thing done, and I can coach the quarterback even better.
Well, I wanted to ask you, is there a benefit to having worked with that many different teams and that many different systems and offensive coordinators and coaches and philosophies? So you kind of you got a full plate. You got a lot of things you can pull from, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the best parts of my story is just the exposure that I've had to so many different versions of football, and there's a ton of ways to do it. And I think the biggest takeaway I always have is that, once you find a sound way, it's just the conviction in which you can teach that brand of football that you're doing, and that scheme of plays that you're running. What conviction do you operate with? How can you transfer that information to the player in a way that makes him believe he can do it, and it makes him believe we can be successful? And I think Kevin and Wes on the offensive side have mastered it. Obviously, Flo and them are crushing it and had on in their respective areas. But for me, also along that journey, learning what not to do. Having some takeaways of like, that's not really, that doesn't work. Like that sounds good. Maybe that kind of, whatever sounds good on TV or whatever, but that doesn't work day to day in a quarterback room. Yeah. And so trying to take those little things here and there and apply that to our room to get the best out of our players.
We talked about the confidence level of Darnold or lack thereof or wherever he was. From afar, I've never spent any time with him, but it seems like JJ doesn't lack for confidence at all. He seems to be like a real confident kid.
Yes, no doubt. I mean, he's had success at every level he's played at, and I think that builds into that. And especially, you win a national championship playing at the University of Michigan and all that. I mean, those are no small task. And so I do think he has every right to be confident, and we want him to be confident. And you see it with the way he throws the football and the conviction he throws the ball with, and our job is to help guide that confidence within our system and utilize that to help us play good football. I
know you got to run one last question. What's the limit? Sky the limit for him? I mean, how good can he be, do you think?
Well, just today. Let's go. The work that we have today, let's go crush today. That's it. Okay. That's don't want to get into predictions on who can be what. He's got a talented skill set that we like, and he's got a great work ethic. He's got the things that you want that player to have at that position, as far as the desire, work ethic, leadership intangibles, all those things. He has those things. He just got to hone them, and like we say every day, just mastering today. Just go out and crush today, and then we'll worry about tomorrow when it gets here. But that's the goal.
Thanks for sharing time with us. We appreciate that. I know you got to get to work, and good luck to you in the rest of your career here with the Vikings on this upcoming season.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Josh.
Appreciate it.
That's Josh McCown. He's the quarterbacks coach of the soon-to-be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings. We'll take a short break. Should we break here?
Yeah, we can if we want. Yeah.
Let's go ahead. Let's take a short break. We'll come back with more. We're broadcasting live from TCO Performance Center. It's training camp coverage 2025. Continuing coverage here from Egan on the Common.
Unlock smarter learning with Lenovo AI-powered PCs powered by Intel Core Ultra processors. Head to Lenovo.com and choose from multiple devices to fit your passions. If you're a gamer, you can spend less time stressing about GPUs and CPUs and more time dominating with your AI-enabled smart engine, which optimizes your game performance in real time. Or maybe you're a scientist on the verge of a groundbreaking discovery and need a device with a longer battery life and AI-enhanced tools to give you extra time to finish your research. Or you're a musician preparing for your biggest break and need better, faster AI tools to make digital art a breeze, like creating band posters and t-shirt designs. Or you're a soon-to-be graduate needing to catch a recruiter's eye to land that dream job, so you need cutting-edge smart tools to build your portfolio from scratch. That's the power of Lenovo with Intel inside. Plus, college students and teachers get 5% off with an education account on Lenovo.com. A better future is waiting, and it needs you.
Program on the Fan. tonight across this country. There'll be a stand-up comedian telling jokes in a club somewhere, and it'll be really funny. We just don't know who it is and where it's going to be. We do know, I think Nate Bargatze is in town tonight. Twin Cities Orthopedic Performance Center, Eagan, Minnesota, also known as the New Winter Park. Tennessee, I'm seeing something strange here. What are those players doing? Are they like stretching? So people actually stretch before they do athletic endeavors. I haven't stretched like that. I mean, if I tried to stretch like they're stretching right now, I'd never get back up.
Well, you're a good enough athlete.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
You're right. I can just go out. I could stick a tee in the ground and let her rip. It usually goes a tad right up the gut, but still, it's hard to make that big full turn.
We didn't get to see any practice on Wednesday, so it was our first look.
Yeah, we'll see some now. So we got the players out there. They are stretching, getting loosened up, and practice will start at about 2:30. The Viking fan survey results are in Tennessee. There were, I don't remember, a couple 13, 14 questions. We went along as we read each question. The piece says that it was done by Alec Lewis, who is a frequent contributor to KFAN. And you and I answered a number of the questions. There were 3,700 respondents. And like I say, it was a couple 13, 14 questions. And we'll look at some of these here. The first question was, how confident are you that the Vikings are moving in the right direction? And the most was 61.4%. Am I to read that as most? 61.4% think the Vikings are headed in the right direction?
I would think that would be correct.
That's what I think I'm reading.
I'll try to find the survey myself.
That was a 5. 34.7% thought they were gave it a 4 rather than a 5. It was on a scale of 1 to 5. 1 being you think you have no confidence whatsoever. You're going to do the old, when the Vikings game starts, you're going to crawl under your bed and curl up in the fetal position. To number 5, you are asking all your friends, family, and neighbors, do you like parades? And it looks
But, I mean, if you combine the percentages, how confident are you the Vikings are moving in the right direction? 4 or above, 4 or 5, I mean, that's 96.1% of the vote.
Think about that.
So,
Skol Vikings, honor the name. So, yeah, a lot of people are confident. And, you know, I guess, in here, I want to preface all this by saying, I wonder how many of those people really do feel confident or want to feel confident. You know what I'm saying? Because you want your team to do well, and you're hoping they're heading in the right direction. I can understand that, especially if you're a diehard Viking fan and you want it. Teams coming off a 14-3 season last year. I know it ended. It was very disappointing, but I think most hardcore Viking fans thought interior of both lines, offense and defense, needed some work. The Vikings addressed it. Whether they got the right players in those positions, we don't know yet, but at least they did address it. Everybody seems to be high on McCarthy. So, and O'Connell carries himself very well, and he's coach of the year, and everybody loves B-Flow. So I guess I can understand why people think they're confident the team's headed in the right direction. Will the Vikings win a big game in the next 10 years? Yes or no? Tennessee, do I read that right? 80.7% said yes. Yes, they will.
80.7.
In the next 10 years, 19.3% said no, they won't.
Who would have thought with how much we think our sports are cursed here that almost 81% would say, yeah, we're going to win a big game in the next 10 years.
How would you rate your level of trust in team ownership? Again, 1 through 5 scale, 1 the worst, 5 the best. 69.8%.
It's a large amount.
And that's number 5. The number 4 was 26%. So that's, gosh, how much is that, Tennessee?
That's going to be as favorable of ownership as any franchise in sports.
Exactly. Because that's just rounded up. That's 70% and 26. That's over 75%. More than 3 out of 4 people said, I love ownership. And I think you and I were both in that same category because I think owners...
And 96%.
Yes.
That likes it 4 or above.
Yes, 4 or above. And because here's what I believe. And maybe I know if I was back in studio and I could see the Bradshaw and Brian KFAN text line, we would get the old, you guys want to start quacking like duckies and bunnies, or am I listening to the Paul Allen Project? I think ownership... Quack, quack. Thank you. I think the Vikings ownership, they're spending up to the cap. They're when they felt they needed a coaching change and a general manager. Some people maybe think they waited a little too long on that, but they made changes when they needed to make it. They kind of keep it sounds like They keep their hands out of personnel decisions.
Yes.
They let the general manager, the coaching staff, and the player personnel guys decide who they're going to draft, who they're going to sign in free agents. I would say the same thing with Leipold. I think Leipold would give them all the money that they want, right? I think he stays out of the way, lets Bill Guerin. You could say maybe
I think he might put his hands in a little bit.
Do you think
sometimes.
he does? Okay. And then, we don't know yet about Lordy and Rodriguez. That remains to be seen. And I think I think my opinion on the poll ads is pretty well documented. But they're also in a non-salary cap league. And so I also think when you don't spend the kind of money that you do have available to you, don't spend it, I think that drops you down a couple of notches as far as I'm concerned. Level of trust in...
And he's walking in front of us right now.
Yeah, in Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. Breaking news. What do you have?
I'm just seeing this from Schefter.
Uh-oh.
Kevin O'Connell has announced that Justin Jefferson has a mild hamstring strain and will be held out of practice. He will be reevaluated next week.
Mild hammy. They're calling it mild.
Didn't he miss some of practice yesterday? They made some. It's not a big deal. Am I getting that right, or am I confusing that with something else?
I don't know, but I know. When you label it mild, is that what do we call that?
It's not a tear.
Yeah, but when you say mild, is that a little bit of your little subterfuge, a little what's the word I'm looking for when you're trying to make the news less? I mean, saying mild, even if you don't know for sure if it's mild, just so the people don't panic. And maybe they don't. Maybe it really is mild. Maybe it's a little worse than that. Maybe they don't know. So I think I'd have to wait to see if it really is mild.
Well, I mean, it also goes back to all off season we've been having conversations of this is the perfect spot for a quarterback to land.
Yeah.
Right. And I think today's news, and it's probably nothing. It's a nothing burger, and he'll be fine. I'm sure he'll be okay. But it does show you how quickly that can change in a heartbeat, right? Like if all of a sudden Justin Jefferson were to have an injury at some point throughout the season, all of that, man, we got everything built around him for him to succeed, changes quite quickly.
So as far as how would you rate your level of trust in Kwesi and O'Connell when it comes to 5, meaning you'd run through a brick wall, it's 13.8%, 4, 55.8%, and then 3 at 26.6%, 2 and 1 are very minuscule. So they don't feel as strongly about the GM spot as they do the ownership spot. But when it comes to O'Connell, there's more confidence in O'Connell than there is either the ownership or Kwesi. 77.6 listed as a high rate. They are at 5 on that, with 5 being the highest, and 20.8% was number 4. And just, it looks like maybe one person just trying to be a gadfly. I wonder who that was. Some gadfly maybe gave it a.
But I don't even know if I see any red with him.
I see a little. No, see, I see a little tiny red.
It looks like a sliver of orange to me.
Oh, is that orange?
I mean, it's hard to tell. It's so small.
Yeah, but it's there. That's a gadfly. That's somebody that's trying.
See, on my computer, it looks orange. On your phone, it looks red. So I don't know. Yeah, it could be.
Well,
a gadfly.
Either way, it's still below the 3, and so it's somebody being a gadfly, I think. But maybe not. Maybe
either way, I consider 4 or 5, if you get either of those, to be a favorable review.
Correct.
And so KOC is at basically 98% favorable, whereas Kwesi only 13.8% of the 5 mark, but still around 69% favorability.
Yeah. Well, and on how would you rate the job done by the front office this offseason? And that would kind of go hand in hand with Kwesi, because he's kind of the front office. When you combine 5 and 4, as you say, that's over 80%. With 34.8
over 90%.
giving it a 5, over 90%, with 34.8 giving it a 5, 57.8 giving it a 4. And I think that probably has a lot to do with, more than anything, I think the average fan, it sounds like, Tim, is what I would read into this, is they feel as though those off-season signings of the 2 interior offensive linemen and the 2 interior defensive linemen were really good moves. It's hard to judge the draft, really, per se, because, again, the Vikings weren't in that position where, like last year, 2 years ago, they drafted McCarthy. Here, I don't know if any of those draft picks really popped out at you, right? So I think a lot of that's based on those off-season signings. And, again, just because of previous track record of those 4 players, I think people thought they were good moves, right?
Yep, and I think what Kwesi has going for him is the favorability you heard on the head coach is going to have an impact on some of the players' performance, right? Like Sam Darnold. I know you like to make fun of the quarterback whisperer, but is Sam Darnold having the season he had last year somewhere else? I don't know if that's guaranteed. I do think, at least at the quarterback position in the offense, I do think KOC squeezes about as much lemon out of that juice or as much juice out of the lemon as he can.
How many games will the 2025 Vikings win? More than 11. 16% of those surveyed said they would win more than 11. 32% said 11 or more.
Just 11.
Or just 11, I'm sorry. Just 11. And then 39.4% said 10 games.
I think that's where I said it when we did the...
Yeah, I think I was in
I don't think it's going to be 8 or
11.
fewer. I would be surprised with that.
Yeah, I would as well. What would you consider a successful 2025 season? There were 4 different categories. Win more than 8.5 games, make the playoffs no matter what happens after that, make the playoffs and win at least 1 game, make the NFC Championship game. The vast majority of those that responded thought make the playoffs and win at least 1 game. That was 61% of those surveyed. 19.7 said get to the NFC Championship game and get back to me. 15.7 said just make the playoffs and it doesn't matter if you lose or not. There were 3.6 that thought it'd be successful if they just won 8.5.
Those are the gadflies.
Well, either gadflies or maybe they just don't think that highly of the club, or they've got Avatar. Aggravated Vikings, anticipatory traumatic abandonment reactions. They just expect the worst.
I would say what I would say on here, even though it's not an option, I guess it's kind of a combination of the bottom 2, the make the playoffs and win at least 1 game, or make the NFC Championship. I would just say make an extended run.
Yeah.
Whatever that is defined, right? Like, if you get to the playoffs, win 1 game, and you just happen to run into a buzzsaw, I still think you can consider that a successful season. But if you win 1 game and lose to a team that you should have beaten, well, that changes my opinion on that.
How confident are you that J.J. McCarthy will be a star? Are you looking at that one? I don't understand the responses. Is it the 5? Nobody is...
So 11.8% gave him a 5.
Okay, that's 11.8%.
42.6 gave him a 4.
Okay.
39.5 gave him a 3.
Okay.
But still some cautiousness, it appears, from some of the Vikings fan base.
Well, and for me, I guess the caution is, look, Teneby, you and I learned this lesson, was it 15, 20 years ago, when Notorious D.I.G. told us that quarterback is the most important position in all of sports. Not only that, I also think it's probably the hardest to master. It's the most difficult to do. So just because a kid was drafted number 10 overall, we moved up and drafted him at 10, and I know he's had a hell of a college career and a high school career. I think in his high school and college, was it 3 losses is all? It's still a big leap to go to the pros. And while I don't remember where I put myself. I don't know if I was a 3 or a 4. I'm certainly not ready to say surefire going to be a big star in this league. I just can't say that. It's just too difficult to do, I think. It's too hard to
without having seen him play.
Right, correct.
Right,
on the pro level.
We saw a couple series of preseason action out of him. Like it's kind of, I think it's hard to go all in on them. I also think it's hard to give him a 1.
On realistic expectations for numbers for McCarthy, there were 4 different ones. The second to the best was the 51%. Most people thought if he threw for 3,500 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 20 interceptions, that would be the most realistic.
12 interceptions.
Yeah, 12 interceptions. That would be the most realistic.
That's the one I put for him, yeah.
I can't remember. I thought I did the one with the other gadflies, the 37% that said 3,000 yards, 7 tutties, and 13 interceptions. So there's 37%.
I just think if you are playing an entire season, right? If you're healthy.
Yeah.
If you're playing an entire season in the National Football League with 17 games and you're not missing any action, if you can't throw for over 3,000 yards in today's offense, in today's football, like, that's an awful season. And to me, if he threw for 3,000 yards, 17 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, and played every game, I would be questioning whether we should have him as a starting quarterback next year. So we'd be on to the next QB.
Yeah, so you think the expectation should be higher, and you have higher ones for him. Okay. On Which newly added free agent are you most excited about? There were 5 choices: Allen, Fries, Hargrave, Kelly, and Rogers. It was really, nobody was overwhelming. Fries was number 1 at 33.7%. Then it was 22.5, 19.3, 11.1, 13.4. But definitely Fries is the guy that people are most excited about.
Well, Fries and Kelly are, a little bit more in their primes and just coming off of injuries, whereas Allen and Hargrave both have been pretty darn good at their position in the past, but they've also been dealing with injuries, and at their age, you don't know if they're going to be able to recapture that. So, I think Fries and Kelly are the easier ones, where they're more logically like those guys will make an impact.
Do you think the Vikings should still add a free agent quarterback? It was a yes and a no. 70.2% said yes.
Yes, I'm in the yes category.
I did as well. What is your level of confidence in the offensive line? 64.4% were in that 4 spot, 1 through 5 being the highest. 13%, they're all in. 21.2 were in that 3, I'm really not sure. Biggest area of concern, durability over 17 games. That was number 1, and I think that's what it is in the NFL. We have the durability over 17 games. The next was J.J. McCarthy's youth. Well, because he's basically a rookie without being a rookie, didn't only play the half of preseason. 34.2% are concerned about that. Depth at run at corner.
That's what I went with.
Is 22.6%, and the run game just at 4.4%. And then the other ones are with ticket prices, and people thought that
US Bank experience.
Do you consider Vikings ticket price to be affordable? Only 26.7% said yes. I think the cheapest ticket I saw the other day, $82. 73.3% said it wasn't. They weren't affordable. How would you rate the game day experience at last year at US Bank Stadium? 53.3% people didn't attend. Those that did, 24% thought it was pretty good. Perfect, loved everything, was about 20. And then which NFC opponent are you most afraid of this season? Bears, 3.7%. Packers, 11.5%. 84.8% think the war has been restored. They think it's the Vikings, or the Lions.
I'd be curious if you surveyed Lions fans how they would answer that question.
Which team they would fear the most?
In terms of percentage-wise, yeah.
That is a good question. And I saw the Lions again today. It looked like Campbell had to break up another fight. Too much. Again, there was too much physical contact again. So
they're breaking kneecaps over there in Detroit.
They're breaking them and they're biting. And we'll take a break. One more segment to go. Practice about to begin. Players are getting loosened up. It's our continuing coverage of Vikings Training Camp 2025 live from TCO Performance Center, the new Winter Park, right here on the Fan.
Are you shopping for a new laptop while still trying to keep up with technology and AI? Talk about feeling burnt out, but no more. Lenovo.com makes it easier than ever to find the perfect PC. In fact, we'll break it down for you. Step 1. Shop our lineup of AI PCs powered by Intel Core Ultra processors. Because why deal with downloading new software when you can buy a smarter PC that already comes with all of the AI features and tools? Step 2. Find the one that fits your passion. Whether you're a creative genius, a research scientist, a hardcore gamer, or a future CEO, no dream is too big. That's the power of Lenovo with Intel inside. You can keep up with your ideas as well as any challenges you may face. Step 3. Add to cart and purchase. Oh, if you're a college student or a teacher, make an education account through us and get 5% off your whole order. Shop now at Lenovo.com. A better future is waiting, and it needs you.
Memorial Hour, I have a couple of them for you today. This one from Papa Taco. He writes, "Good morning, Comet. Hope you shot a good round this morning. It's that time of year I don't care much for. Coming up on July 27th would have been my son's mom's birthday. It was also on the 30th. It is also on the 30th. That's the day someone decided to watch YouTube while driving and killed her. Christina's passing hasn't gotten any easier these last 2 years, but Porter, her son, and myself are hoping with time it gets better. This year, I think she'd be proud. Our baby boy isn't so much anymore, starting 9th grade, and he's passed me up in height, which reminds me daily, and for myself, hung up the bottle for good, 9+ months now. This weekend's the state tournament for our 14U team. It will be good for Porter to be around his friends. Christina and Dark, enjoy the weekend, have a Coors, play some pull tabs, but most of all, keep watching over us. September, the trial starts for the guy who killed you. As always, we will miss you more than we can ever say. Your poor bear, Papo, and baby daddy. And then there's this one that says, I'm writing in to let you know that my friend Ken Bartz passed away this week. Ken was the legendary voice of the leader of 89.1 KNNZ-FM, an independent public radio station which he ran from the basement of his home in Fargo, a station that he prides itself on being agenda-free radio. One of Ken's missions was to provide a platform for local artists to share their music. His station had an hourly segment called Homegrown Rock and Roll that featured music from performers in our region. I was blessed on several occasions to perform live on his radio show, Modern Rock Worldwide. Ken was a radio wizard that would always blow my mind with his random insights about the broadcasting industry. Today, my heart is full from reminiscing. Radio is so important in my life. As I reflect on the impact that Ken had on me, I find myself feeling incredibly grateful for all my favorite on-air personalities, yourself included. Tuning into my favorite shouts keeps me going throughout the day. Ken's greatest wish is now mine. May radio never die. Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Dark Star. I love you, Common. Signed, B. Nickel. And those are your Dark Star memorials for the day. And 10 and B, this is a where were you moment for me.
Yeah.
J.J. McCarthy is about to throw his first. Now, I know he threw a pass last year here, and yes, I know he threw them during the preseason game, but this will be the first pass he throws as the preordained starter of the soon-to-be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings, and Rosen's not here for it. Because remember, he said it was going to be a where were you moment, and you know what his is going to have to be? I wasn't there. I stayed home. I didn't come out. I was surprised he's not here. Offense, tend to be, I would say, about maybe 50% of the players, a little less, have that. What's the name of the helmet? The one that's looks like it's got a pillow on the top?
Yeah, a little protection.
I can't remember the name of it. There is a specific name. And that apparently is used so that it helps cushion the blow from a hard hit to the helmet. And I think they, I don't know if there's any scientific evidence that it helps prevent concussions. But I think a lot of players are wearing them, and I think I would too. You know, we talked about yesterday with the baseball players on the batting helmet. They have that extension that goes in front of their face. Not all of them wear them, and I think I told you yesterday I wouldn't go to the plate without one. I would wear that, especially during practice. Sure. I just think it's not worth the risk that you take. Now they're playing medicine ball. What's the point of this drill? There's two players. They're shifting back and forth, pushing a medicine ball at each other.
They're getting stronger.
Stronger?
Yeah, they're getting into their position, their athletic stance.
Balance.
They learn how to push with their arms.
Oh, I see. Balance, agility, all of that. Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
We do have audio. I think we have J.J. McCarthy mic'd up over there if you wanted to.
Oh, he's looks like he's about ready to throw. Let's hear what it sounds like when J.J. McCarthy's out on the field. Whoa, that was like a missile. You could hear.
Did you hear that?
You could hear the laces cutting through the breeze.
Yeah, that's the first time I've ever heard that in person.
PA was right. You could hear it.
That was a where were you moment.
Yeah. That was a Larry Mondello guy idea, and it wasn't bad. And it sounded pretty good. Look, it's not the best thing we've ever done on the radio.
No.
But I liked it.
But it killed 10 seconds.
And I think I liked it. I mean, you just got to, it's called winging it radio. You just throw it up against the wall and see if any of it sticks. I think it was, did you read the J.J. Watt thing?
That was the one that you read it to, yeah.
Where we like to, as we observe what they're doing, we'll read into a lot of what we see. And what Watt wanted to try to I don't even know if remind people about it, because I don't think most people know. I guess I got to be honest, even though I played football at a pretty high level, fierce pass rushing, Rocket Gibraltar run stopping defensive lineman, precise route running, sure-handed pass catching, precise route running tight end. it never occurred to me that, well, they're trying to accomplish certain things during certain parts of practice. And so if a player makes a play, it might not be because he made a great play. It's because that's what they're working on. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So in other words, it's like players maybe aren't supposed to be going all out to stop that pass, but they're working on a timing route with the wide receiver, and they just want the defensive back to be in the vicinity. And it's like, whoa, what a throw, look at that. And it's like, well, the defensive back really wasn't trying that hard at that point. So there's a lot of different. So it's, as we talked about, I think if anything, I don't even know if the joint practices show a whole heck of a lot either, because again, those are very controlled type scrimmages, and so I'm not so sure that you can glean much from what you see at the practices, because we really don't know what they're trying to accomplish.
No, and even half of football practice, they're not really doing anything.
Right.
They're like, right now they're not going 11 on 11 and watching certain plays and watching where they're lining up. They're just doing basic, like, drills they would do at Pop Warner 4th grade level type drills right now.
Now, I'm so...
But right now the quarterbacks are working on throwing on the move to their...
left side.
Rolling out to their left.
Now, who's who in these numbers tend to be?
So 9 is JJ.
9 is JJ.
11, I believe, is Rippin.
Okay.
12 is Brosmer. Yeah, Chip.
Oh, hey.
You got about 10 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Come on
up.
12 is Brosmer, the former Gophers quarterback. And so number 8 is Sam Howell.
Yeah, Sammy Howell. So they're working and excited and delighted to be joined by Chip Scoggins of Minnesota Star Tribune, or as I affectionately call Fish Wrapper Factory West.
Howdy.
We text and talk more than most people know, because we're neighbors.
We live 30 seconds apart.
Yeah. This is a nice drive home from work for you, isn't it?
It's a lot better than Winter Park.
Yeah, me too. I tell you what. I mean, I'm usually out at West End, so this is a nice drive. It's early, so I don't expect you to have any, real deeps. Well, I don't know what you call them. You've made some real decisions on what you've seen out here, or made any opinions. But what do you think so far as they're getting started for training camp 2025?
Well, it's not good news to have Jefferson dealing with the hamstring,
right,
that we just found out about a little while ago. So that's not encouraging, but sounds like from what O'Connell said, it's not too serious. I don't think the opener's in jeopardy. It's so hard right now because this is the acclimation period. They're not even in full pads yet. They're not. Right. But I like the quarterback, his decision making, his presence, the velocity he has on throws that he needs to have it on. We'll see more as this goes along, and they get in the full pads, they get into the joint practices, but early indications are he looks comfortable out there.
We had Josh McCown on a little bit earlier and asked him a few questions about McCarthy. And the one thing I asked him is, I talked about working with Darnold, and Darnold was kind of like, this was his last stop, maybe,
sure.
And I said, how much confidence did he have, didn't have, how much did you instill in them? And then I asked him, I said, I've not spent any time with McCarthy, but by all accounts, he doesn't lack confidence whatsoever, and that's what he said. He said, when you've won at every level he's been at, high school and college, NFL's different, but he says confidence isn't one thing that you have to worry about with McCarthy.
No, and it comes through pretty loud and clear when we have our press conferences with him. And first time I had talked to him in a group setting, it's like, you can tell he has that presence. You can tell he's played quarterback at Michigan at a big program. He's been under the spotlight. He's been in big games. He's won a national championship. So whether that translates into anything, I don't think it hurts, right? That you've been in the pressure moments, in the pressure seat of being a big time college quarterback. So, but he has a presence about him, and you can tell the way he interacts with teammates. He's always high-fiving, always talking, always going around to everybody, not just his wide receivers, that he's already commanded respect. And I talked to Harrison Smith about this at the OTAs, and he said he's a very inquisitive guy. So he'll pull him aside, he'll pull defensive players aside, he'll pull whoever, offensive lineman, tight end. He's always wanting to know something about their position, something about football. So I think that's a pretty cool quality for a quarterback to have, that he can really get along and have kind of those relationships across the entire locker room.
Well, and I think having that success at high school and then in college, I can mention winning a national championship, not only helps him because he's I don't know how cocky he is. I've never talked to him, but he's thinking to himself, "I'm pretty good at this."
Yeah.
And I think that I think that probably is good for your teammates too, because your teammates go, it's not a kid that, he was a good college quarterback, but he didn't win anything or do anything, and he's won a national championship at a big time program. So I think the players, especially veteran players that are vested in this, and so much depends on a quarterback, and you got a young kid and you're thinking, God, how good is he going to be? But when he has a confidence level like that and he's already showing some leadership abilities, I think that bodes well for the attitudes of the other players.
And I also think, and maybe I'll be wrong with this, but I think along those lines, I don't think he'll get rattled by mistakes or adversity. I don't think if he throws a bad interception that he's going to go into a shell and play conservative. I think he's going to come back and keep, he kind of has that, that fiery extrovert kind of personality where he's going to let it rip.
He did it in the preseason game last time. The only game we saw him. He threw an interception. Yeah, was that first drive he threw it or second drive? Or maybe it was early on.
Yeah. And he came right back and played well after that. So I don't really think mistakes are going to rattle him. And that's, again, because there's going to be those. They're inevitable. But the one thing, too, and we're standing here watching this offensive line, when healthy, they look a lot different.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, look at Will Fry's his body type, and Donovan Jackson, the new guard. He is a massive human being, and so I think when they're healthy, I think that unit is going to be among the best in the NFL, and everything they've done is to set McCarthy up for success. Build that, build the offensive line, build a defense, make it better. Be more committed to the running game, bringing in Jordan Mason of power so they can run the ball in short yardage. I don't know if O'Connell gets tired of this quote, but he always says organizations fail quarterbacks before quarterbacks. Right. And I think they said, we're not going to do that. We're going to build up the infrastructure around him to give him the best chance to succeed.
Well, I also think my guess is being it's basically it's set in stone. He's a quarterback whisperer, Kevin O'Connell. But I would think for him, there was a lot of satisfaction last year in taking a retread, a reject in Sam Darnold, in coaching him up to a point where he's now signed a $100 million contract. He's not here anymore, but
won 14 games.
And got you into postseason play. And now you're going to take another kid, same thing, a kid with a different story and a different route, a guy that, again, was a top 10 draft pick like Darnold was, but he's not had any failures at the pro level, but you got a new chunk of clay to mold something out of. And I would think, and I don't know if he'd ever say this, but I would think that's more challenging and rewarding for him than it would be working with a veteran like a Cousins, right? Or not?
Yeah, because Cousins sort of was what he was when you got him. Now, I think he made him a better quarterback, situational and those things, but he was always going to be Kirk Cousins, right? But I think it's both. I mean, you do a guy who's failed in other spots, and now all of a sudden he has success and gets a big contract, and now you're taking a high draft pick and trying to make him into a franchise quarterback, which they have not had here in forever. That's the one thing that we've talked about for decades. If he can turn him into a guy who is your quarterback for 10 years, that's their hope. That's their goal. And so, it's funny. Why I'm late over here is I sat down with O'Connell one-on-one today to talk about just putting a training camp. How do you put together a training camp? Like, what do you try to get out of it? Almost, he has it scripted almost by the minute. Not to give away too much to Colin, that'll be on Sunday. But his two focuses this offseason, going in his camp, he said, the team and the quarterback. Yeah. The quarterback has to be front and center on everything they did in building this training camp to try to get him ready for the season.
Yeah.
And I thought that's interesting that the head coach has said there is ultimate importance that they script this camp so that JJ is ready for the season.
And that leads me to my next question. And the expectations are incredible on him by the organization, by the fan base, ownership, I suppose by McCarthy himself. And a lot of guys can crumble under those expectations, other guys don't, and will be interesting to see.
Pressure is a privilege, Common. Pressure is a privilege.
I've heard this somewhere.
Yeah.
It is interesting because a lot of times when you think, okay, you're starting over the first-year quarterback, you're thinking, okay, this is 2025. We're thinking about 2027. Like, he's going to build, and this is the big payoff's coming. Everything they've done this is all in right now. This is 2025. I mean, look at how much they spent this offseason. Look at this is a veteran team. Mm-hmm. They have a bunch of guys that are either in their prime or near the end of it. They can't worry about 2027. They're trying to win right now, and so it's an interesting kind of situation.
And that's why I brought up the
pressure of it.
The pressure, and that the guys are. It's good to have a quarterback that's been a winner elsewhere because, like you say, these veterans are going. This kid, I hope he's good because I don't have many years left. I want to win. I want to win right now.
Well,
right?
They do not care that this is essentially his rookie season. Yeah. They don't. He's expected there's a standard, and that they want to get to the playoffs, and they need to win a game and not just get to the playoffs. And so I don't think that part of it will bother him. He's given no indication that is something that will get to him.
Do you when all is said and done, like you say, if the offensive line stays healthy, they should be pretty good. I think every player, and like Tenneby said, we were talking about defensively, everybody seems to love to play for B-Flow, and like Tenneby said, well, when you're starting and playing a lot, of course you like playing for a guy, but they seem to like him. It does seem to be that there's... And I know all teams have an excitement level when they get to camp. I think some are really just made up. They know they're not going to be a very good team altogether. Yeah. But I think this team really does feel like they've got this feeling like they're going to be a factor, not just in the regular season, but they can. I think they really believe they can make a run in postseason.
Well, and here's the thing: you win 14 games last year, and I think most of us would say, on paper, they got better.
Yeah.
Now you're not going to pick 14 wins because that. You know, who predicts 14 wins for any team? Even
PA. Yeah, he'll pick 14.
So, I think there's tremendous optimism when you look at the talent that they have and that they went out and the money that they spent. And I do think that there is a belief within the locker room in J.J. McCarthy. I think they see it in practice. They see his arm. I don't know where the narrative about his arm strength came from. I mean, it's absurd if you watch him. I mean, he absolutely has a big arm. So I think there's confidence in him when you talk to players. And so, I mean, I think it's, as O'Connell said, and Kwesi said at their kickoff media press conference, they feel like they can win multiple ways now. Right. In postseason, I don't think they could last year because they could. We saw it reaffirmed. You got to win in the trenches in the postseason, and they weren't capable of doing it. I think they feel like they are now.
Tough schedule, tough division.
Yeah, that 4-game stretch where it's
and a tough division. And we were reading, Athletic, Alec Lewis did a poll of Viking fans, and one of them was, which team do you fear the most? It was overwhelming the Lions. Everybody is free, and that team is they're I don't know how to say it, but they're an interesting team because they lost 2 coordinators, right? Yes. 2 really good coordinators, head coaching jobs. They lost some players to retirement. Their center, other guy left for free agency. They've already got nicked up a little bit. Onwuekwe is going to be out. This the second day in a row second practice in a row where Campbell has had to kick a guy out too physical. But I do think I'm not writing off Green Bay at all or Chicago, but I do think Detroit and Minnesota would be really interesting between those two.
I said 10 wins. I feel like Vikings are a 10 or 11 team.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, thanks. Sorry I'm late.
That's okay. Don't worry about it, man. You were busy. Thanks so much. That's Chip Scoggins.
Thanks,
you can read his stuff in the Minnesota Star Tribune. Tenneby, thanks for having me.
Hey, great job.
You as well. We enjoyed our visit with you today. Thanks, Brett Blakemore. When we come back, it'll be Big Ticket JG. They'll be back in studio. We'll broadcast Craig Warrior and Paul Peterson, myself, live tomorrow from TPC of the Twin Cities for 3M Open coverage. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 10 a.m. on Tee to Green.
Good night, folks. And good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are.
Listen back to any of Common Man's programs by podcasting on the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.
Let your imagination take flight with an AI-powered PC from Lenovo. Whether it's creating digital art, designing new software, or building a portfolio for a future career, our PCs are powered by Intel Core Ultra processors to help students unlock smarter learning and unleash their creativity. That's the power of Lenovo with Intel inside. All you have to do is choose the one that fits your passion. Head to Lenovo.com to shop AI PCs and find your perfect companion. Plus, get 5% off when you create an education account.